All right, UFC 302 is now over, and this will be my reaction to every single fight on this card, starting with Mitch Raposo and Andre Lima. So, Andre Lima won, as I have predicted, but it's interesting that we also did notice him getting flustered in this fight and like kind of cheat by grabbing the fence and also like just like poking the other guy's face. I mean, Mitch Raposo didn't really mind, but it's just a little weird. And I gotta say, I don't know if I can ever confidently back Andre Lima again now that we've seen him in a full fight. I'm just not really that into his style. Uh, yeah. Anyhow, moving on to the next fight. But before I move on to the next fight, I also want to note that like one of the judges gave the round to Mitch Raposo, which was weird, and this happened multiple times after in the following fights. But anyhow, for now, we move on to Ailin Perez and Joselyne Edwards. So I predicted Ailin Perez to win, and she won. Yeah, people were saying that there was like some beef between them. I don't know. I did notice that on the ground, like there were times when Ailin Perez was on top in a dominant position, but like I guess she was too short and her legs just ended up flying over. I mean, Joselyne Edwards is pretty strong, I guess, also. So there's that. But yeah, not much to say on that one. Pretty boring fight. Then next up, we had Mickey Gall and Bassil Hafez. So I predicted Bassil Hafez to win, and he won, but I expected him. I mean, I expected Mickey Gall to not be as good as he was, I guess. I don't know. Based on how the fight with JDM went, I expected Bassil Hafez to just kind of like run through Mickey Gall, but Mickey Gall did pretty well. Bassil was a little bit more of a psycho, so he won the fight. And yeah, no finishes yet so far. Next fight was with Phil Rowe and Jake Matthews. So if you guys remember, if you guys recall, Phil Rowe has a 7.5-inch reach advantage over Jake Matthews. If you don't know what that looks like, it's kind of like the size of a forearm. A forearm. I think I predicted Phil Rowe to win. Had Phil Rowe actually stepped on the gas and put a little more pressure on Jake Matthews, Jake Matthews would have had a harder time. But that didn't really happen. And in the third round, Phil Rowe got really stupid and like started shooting for takedowns that didn't make sense. Like the last takedown that he tried to shoot, he fumbled and Jake Matthews ended up on top. I think that's what happened. I don't know. It was just really awkward, and that was the one fight where I was like, really, dude? Like, you totally could have done this, and then you just chose to fight dumbly. I don't know. Yeah, it's just, it is what it is, I guess. But, yeah. Next fight, we move on to the Grant Dawson versus Joe Solecki. This was actually one where I thought it was going to be more even, but Grant Dawson just, like, dominated Joe Solecki the whole time. Just smushed him up against the fence and like elbowed him the whole time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to say about that other than I mean, I knew that Grant Dawson was stronger and I thought he would definitely outwork him on the ground. I just didn't expect Joe Solecki to lay on his back and not have answers, I guess. I thought there would be a little more movement involved, but that's how it goes sometimes. We move on to the next fight, which was with Jailton, Almeida, and Alexandr Romanov. Or Alexandr Romanov. So Jailton Almeida just went in there first round and was like, I'm not dealing with any of this shit. I'm just going to take this guy down. I'm not going to expend any more energy than I have to. I'm not going to get hurt. And he just took Alexandr Romanov down. And that's when I knew it was over, because I was like, well, Romanov is not going to get up. And then Jailton Almeida just like wrapped himself around him and got the submission. So were we surprised? Did anybody out there bet on Alexandr Romanov? Let me know, because yeah, I think this was the first time Alexandr Romanov got submitted as well. I think this was his first submission loss. Anyhow, all right, we move on to the Randy Brown versus Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos fight. So Dos Santos tried in this one. I just think that he definitely was a lot smaller, and I had predicted that Randy Brown would win because he would just outstrike him, because he's consistently done this over people who were smaller than him, and that's kind of exactly what happened here. Yeah, he did pretty well. I was a bit worried a few times when there was grappling involved, because I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen Randy Brown on the ground much, so I don't really kind of worried for him here. But anyways, he ended up winning in the end via decision. So far, all decisions on this card so far. All right, we move on to the next fight, which was with Niko Price and Alex Morono. So I had predicted that Alex Morono would win. I did say there was this one felt sketchy, and I mentioned that if Niko Price shows up looking 100%, this might be a problem for Alex Morono. But like, I was watching a lot of updates on all of this, and like last night UFC released a video showing Niko Price eating sushi and napping, and I was like, oh well, that's like, Niko Price doesn't give a fuck, so he's probably gonna lose. And I don't know, like the first 2 rounds I wasn't like that worried for Alex Morono. I was like, okay, well, could go either way. And then in the beginning of round 3, it was like someone had pumped all of the air out of Alex Morono's lungs, and there was nothing left. And it was like he just gave Niko Price the win, because he was moving so slowly, had like no ability to defend anymore, and Niko Price won. So I guess it'll be the 5th time he won as underdog, and his 2nd win over Alex Morono. So we got that. The next fight on the card is with Kevin Holland and Michal Oleksiejczuk. Oh man, this fight started off really strong. I was like, okay, damn, as I predicted, Michal Oleksiejczuk is putting on the pressure. He's actually doing really well. However, I predicted that Kevin Holland would slip up and Michal Oleksiejczuk would take advantage of that slip up. It went the other way around. Michal Oleksiejczuk wobbled Kevin Holland. He fell. I was like, oh shit, it's over for Kevin Holland. And Michal Oleksiejczuk started like smashing him on the ground and completely forgot about his arm. And then Kevin Holland just had his arm. There was like nothing he could do. And then when he started realizing that his arm was caught, I guess he tried to like find a way out of it. He didn't, and eventually, like, I think he dislocated his arm or something. I don't know. It was like bending back in a way that arms shouldn't be bending, and yeah, and then he lost, and it was crazy because he totally could have won, but he got a little too excited, I guess, and yeah, and then Kevin Holland walked out of there looking super, super cool and super breezy, like, oh yeah, dude, I'll fight anyone. Yeah, sure, cool. I don't know. Anyhow, yeah, that was crazy, because I think had Kevin Holland not caught that arm, Michal Oleksiejczuk would definitely have gotten the TKO. So anyhow, we move on to the next fight, which was with Sean Strickland and Paulo Costa. I predicted Sean Strickland to win. He won in a very boring fashion. He won via marching forward and I guess just being the slightly better fighter and getting more points. Yeah, I guess I expected to see more action in this one from both opponents. I remember Paulo Costa finally like attempted and landed a spinning leg kick, and like the commentators were like, oh yeah, there you go, see, he tried it finally. And that was like round 3 or maybe even 4. I don't know. It was late. It was late in the fight. Yeah, I don't know. Sean Strickland was saying like, "Hey, we're gonna bleed for you guys," and there was no blood. I mean, that's fine. It is what it is. It was just interesting because I feel like this was the one fight where we saw Sean Strickland's style of fighting so clearly, just like staying straight, not moving around too much, and just marching forward and confusing the fuck out of his opponent. I don't think Paulo Costa was expecting that because like he just didn't know what the hell to do. He just constantly on the back foot and like not like towards the end he finally got a grip on what was happening and tried to like go forward, but it didn't really work out so well for him. But yeah, and then after that was the last fight of the night, which was with Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier. All right, so this fight actually went on longer than I expected it to, and I'm not saying I expected it to go one round, but it went the entire 5 rounds. I thought maybe this would finish in round 2 or 3, but I guess like Dustin's team prepared really well for this fight. Islam had a tough time getting all of the takedowns that he wanted to get. Dustin had really good takedown defense. I feel like he was fighting this fight like 110% with all of his heart, and yeah, it was pretty crazy. There was a moment where I was like, oh shit, is this gonna go to decision? Because like if this goes to decision, they might give it to Dustin because it's like his last chance at the title shot, and he's got the custom shorts, and he like put his whole soul into this. Yeah, and then like the last round came around, and Islam's corner was like, dude, this is the last round. That's all you got. Is leave it all in the cage. And Islam was just like, shit, dude, I gotta do something real creative right now, because if I don't do something real creative right now, I might lose. And yeah, I think he used like all of his last brain cells on that last that submission that he got, because everything he was trying just before was not quite working. Dustin had a pretty good defense for everything. Yeah, so Islam remains the champion. Anyhow, I just wanted to let you guys know that I got every single one of these correct except for the 3: Phil Rowe, Alex Morono, and Michal Oleksiejczuk, which were actually not on. I don't think any of those were on my list of like top betting recommendations. I think maybe Phil Rowe was like on a second tier list. Anyhow, this was a really fun night. I had a good time with good friends in a nice place, which wasn't too stressful. And I hope you guys did as well. Thank you for tuning into my recap, and thank you for supporting this channel. If you'd like, you can buy me a coffee or send me some crypto. It'll be in the description. I'm finally starting to feel better also. I just have like a bit of a cough, and my voice is a little strange, but hopefully I'll feel better very soon and I don't get pneumonia. Pray for me. We do not want pneumonia, because apparently I googled this, not like if anyone cares, but yeah, if you start like coughing and it doesn't get resolved, it could possibly develop into pneumonia. We don't want that. Had that once when I was a kid. It was no fun. Anyhow, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.